Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is my first day back in about a month, I think, for this channel. And it's been a while, but you can kind of say the reason why I'm back was foretold by Gyromancy. God, that's a terrible joke, but the Silent Hill 2 story trailer just dropped while I was at work, and I watched it on my lunch break, and I've been thinking about it for the past like 3 or 4 hours, and I wanted to do a video talking about my thoughts. Of course, I haven't done anything Silent Hill 2 Remake related on this channel yet, but of course I am a huge Silent Hill fan, and seeing this new stuff is interesting, and I want to give my perspective of what I thought of the gameplay and the story beats and voice acting and all that kind of stuff. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the story trailer. And it is 3 minutes long. I'm going to be pausing it a lot as I'm reacting to it because there's a lot to talk about, because a lot of new stuff was shown off in this trailer. So let's go ahead and get on over here and start this up.
James? Honey? Did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Okay, so starting off with Maria. I don't know what it is about the visual design. I mean, I do know, I could elaborate more on it, but I don't think the visual design is good, so to speak. It's probably my least favorite thing that I've seen of the remake so far, and it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like the rest of this trailer is fantastic for the most part. But the way Maria looks and the way she talks in this scene, I'll go over it and do more comparisons in a minute because I want to let this full trailer play out and then go back and talk about why I'm not really liking the voice acting. But let's go ahead and continue. But yeah, so far that's like the main thing that I've seen that I'm just not a fan of. Now, actually, like Mary, sorry, did I say Mary before Maria? Mary's look, when it comes to the clothing and hairstyle and everything, looks fine. Maria looks still a bit too soccer mom-ish, or Karen-ish for my tastes. It's kind of weird. I don't think it really fits what the character is going for, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the trailer.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place.
Just put the gun to their head.
Alright, so this is our first look at Eddie. And this is so interesting because I feel like this is a different take on the character, definitely. Of course, he's much more morbidly obese than his original incarnation. But the thing that I find weird about it is he looks old. Like, Eddie is only supposed to be around 23. He's supposed to be college-aged. And I feel like this one looks middle-aged, almost like mid-30s to late 30s, maybe even early 40s or something. Could be the lighting, but I don't know, something about him just looks older. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of people pointed it out, and I even thought it right when I saw it, is this looks just like Chris Farley, like to a T. And I can show you, like, yeah, I don't know if they had him in mind, if they have a guy that they're doing the face model that just happens to look like Chris Farley, but Eddie looking like Chris Farley is not something that I thought would happen, and I am not hating it, honestly. It actually looks pretty decent.
You can't just kill someone because the way they looked at you. You should see your face, T.
Okay, so right there, that's another thing that I want to talk about is they have modified a lot of the voice lines. You're not getting the exact same dialogue in some of these scenes. And while I do think it is unfortunate because that's an iconic scene if you're a Silent Hill 2 fan, you know, I don't know, it's just I feel like the new Eddie is definitely creepier in a more cinematic way. It doesn't feel as awkward or unnatural and jarring. It feels more cinematic, spooky. And I feel like that's a lot of Silent Hill 2 Remake in general. Feels a lot more cinematic, spooky, than more of that Lynchian, just kind of off-kilter vibe. It's just, I'm kind of sad that you don't get the line right there. You know, why not? Till now, I always let people walk all over me. It's like that stupid dog. He had it coming too, you know. And not having that, I think, tonal shift with him being, you know, more forceful and angry, and then shifting to, oh, I was just joking, James, is a little weird. But I do like the way that they played it off, having that, you know, slow laugh, and then you should see your face right now, James. Kind of still implying that he's joking, but it just seems much more cinematic, sinister, so to speak, instead of that really weird Lynchian vibe that you got from the original.
Let go!
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
This place is different from what I remember.
Now, a lot of people have been saying that Angela's face model looks different, and I can kind of see it, but I think it's more of just an angle thing. And I know that was a big controversy for a while, is Angela's face model, and yeah, I did think it looked pretty bad. And not even because of the wide, you know, face, jawline, facial structure thing. To me, it just looked like a PS3 game at best, when all the other characters looked perfectly fine. And I don't know if it was the flat texturing or the lighting or what, but in the earlier trailer that they shown, her face model just didn't look quite right, so to speak, especially compared to the others like Laura and James. And by the way, can I just say the James facial model that they swapped out, this new one looks fantastic compared to the original face model in the first reveal trailer.
I don't think she's here anymore.
This whole town. Might be best if you just get out of here.
Yeah, you're right.
You said you took everything. But you forgot that videotape we made.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
Okay, so that line right there is the worst part of the entire trailer. I'm going to go into it after this finishes, but just, oh god, I hate that. And it's sad because I want to gush about everything else, but that is such a poorly delivered line compared to the original. And I know Monica Taylor Horgan's voice acting in the original was the actual, like, biggest, you know, highlight of the original when it came to the performances. Her voice acting on that, honestly, is, like, pure perfection in some of the scenes, but this just isn't it. it's not good. So let's go ahead and finish out the trailer, and I'll show you why I think it's not good.
So you are Maria.
I am. If you want me to be.
How do you know about Mary?
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
It doesn't matter who I am. I am here for you, James. See? I'm real.
Alright, so that was the entire trailer. I'm going to get into the Maria stuff now, and the reason why I think her voice acting compared to the original and even the model of the character, just it's not it for me. I think they completely misunderstood the tone of the original, and maybe that's just me being elitist or something. I'm trying not to be, but it does not portray the even anywhere near the original intention, in my opinion. So let's go to the Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition footage and just look at the original jail cell scene and talk about why I think the voice acting just isn't there. And I know it's way too late for them to go back and change all this stuff, so it's more just me nitpicking and what I think is going to be, you know, a flawed aspect of the final product. But let's get into it, and I will show you why I think that this voice acting is a huge downgrade from the original.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you.
Now, I will say, I've always thought Guy Seehe's voice acting was weird. The way he enunciates words almost sounds like a children's TV show host or something. And the thing is, like, I always thought it was hokey voice acting, but then you listen to the guy speak in real life, and it's exactly the same. So it's not him really voice acting, that's his actual voice. So it's a little strange, but Guy's a good guy. I've talked to him a few times online, and he's a pretty cool dude. So nothing against him, but like his voice acting was it's a little funny, and I know I'm really endeared to it now. I love it, but it definitely pulls you out of the moment sometimes, just because he has such a weird vocal inflection.
Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before. Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else?
Okay, so here's my point about the original Maria scene. Is when you get to this point in the game, of course, this is your first time seeing a spoiler alert for everybody, of course. This is mostly for people who have already played it and just getting my general thoughts on it. So obviously do not watch the rest of this video if you care about spoilers in certain contexts. I'll try not to spoil everything, but I'm definitely going to be spoiling a lot. So with Maria in this scene, this is the first time after she died, quote unquote, and you're seeing her alive again for the first time. And of course James is there, not sure if he's seeing Maria or Mary. And the thing about the voice acting here from Monica Taylor Horgan is Maria always has more of a sarcastic or deeper tone to her voice, very playful. And this is the first time where she's actually speaking with a more soft and delicate tone. And it gives you that feeling of, oh, maybe Mary's in there somewhere, you know? And that's kind of what you're supposed to get. But there also is that little bit of a playful tone in her voice underneath it all. Like, you can kind of feel that tone, and that mixture of emotions is what gives you that, like, creeped out feeling when you see her in the scene, because something just feels way off. She's not acting the way Maria acts.
You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
Okay, so this is the most important line that completely shifts the tone of this scene and just gives you that, oh shit feeling. Like, what the fuck is going on? Who is this person? What is standing in front of me right now? Like, this line delivery is so perfect.
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
Okay, so you go from the light, delicate tone, and as soon as he brings up Mary, or saying, "Aren't you Maria?" and you get that slight disdain, or not even slight disdain. You can tell that Maria hates that James wants Mary so much because she wants to be his replacement. So this line right here, the delivery in the original, you feel that like deep anger underneath, and it's such a tonal shift from what came before. Like, just listen to this, how it goes from, you know, light and a very caring tone and more gentle voice to like, oh shit, something's about to happen, because complete change in tone and vocal inflection and just the way she talks. Like, there's something sinister going on behind Maria's character, and you really feel that from the dialogue.
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
That line right there is like, why the fuck are you still talking about Mary? She's dead. I'm here in front of you, and you have me, so why do you still care about Mary so much? Like, I'm what you need. And the remake voice acting just it doesn't capture that in the slightest. Let me go back to it just for direct comparison. So starting off,
Happened to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else?
so you're not getting that light tone that you get from Mary when you see her in the scenes that you see her in. You don't get that caring tone. It's still that, like, almost like a sultry, low, playful, risque voice going on, and it just does not fit the scene in the slightest.
You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
And not her facial expressions, her body language, it doesn't work. I don't know how else to put it. It's so off for the tone that the original gives you compared to what they're giving you in this one. This one is like, okay, Maria is clearly something sinister, and it's so overdone that it doesn't give you that creepy off-kilter, like, why is she acting like Mary? And then why is she getting, all of a sudden, the tonal switch from acting like that caring, gentle person to, well, I'm not your Mary. Like, you don't get that. And I don't know how to really put it into words other than it misses the point, in my opinion.
Are you taping again? Come on.
And see, that's proof that this voice actress can do the voice, like the higher tone, the cheerful attitude, and just this isn't it.
You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. If anybody really liked it, I don't know if it's something that a lot of people are liking, is the Maria voice acting, but it's just not for me.
You said you took everything. Did you?
Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
That does not even hit the same level of what the fuck as the original. So yeah, I've harped on that for too long. We're gonna go into the actual like gameplay that's been shown off, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. But I will say, for the trailer, it's not bad. I think this is the best thing that they've shown off this entire time. If they would have came out of the gate and just showed this, there would have been so much less criticism going around. So now let's get to the remake gameplay and watch a bit of it. again, the redone facial model of James is phenomenal compared to the original. Let me pull up the original real quick. So Silent Hill 2 remake James. Yeah, that's what the original looked like, and this is more what he looks like now. I think the one that they have now just looks so much more in line with what James was and doesn't look nearly as over the top with emotion. Now, I do think the directing for the beginning of the game still, I think, portrays James in a way that's a little too obvious, but maybe that's just because I already know the storyline. So, of course, I know what I'm looking at. So, somebody coming in with no experience might not get that, but yeah, it looks much better.
Could you really be in this town?
Now, one thing you're going to notice about this is I do like the way that they transitioned from this scene into the gameplay with no sort of camera cuts. It's really nice. And I'm going to skip around this a little bit because I don't want this video to be too long. I'm already 20 minutes in. So let's just get to some of the dialogue at the beginning, and we're going to see, because they have changed this scene slightly.
In our special place, waiting for you.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Could Mary really be here?
So there's a difference right there. So when he says this whole town was our special place, in the original he says, could she be talking about the, what is it? The lake? Yeah, something like that. Could she be talking about the lake? We spent the whole day there, just the two of us staring at the water. And then, could she really be here? Is she really alive, waiting for me? So it is different. They did cut out a little bit of the dialogue. And I think that's because the lines following, like, this whole town was our special place, feel kind of inserted in there a little randomly. And this might have made it flow a little bit better, but yeah, that's just something like, there's small little changes like that that I've noticed just watching through this.
Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
Now, I don't know if it's just pre-release footage or what, but the frame rate right there was a little iffy, but that's, you know, that is what it is. But yeah, like graphically for the environments, this is really impressive. This is probably the best thing about the remake that I've seen so far, is the environmental detail. Now, one thing that I am kind of weirded out by in a little bit is you can actually see in the car. So, spoiler alert for anybody who has made it this far and does not know the big twist of the game. Here's your chance to leave because I'm going to spoil it. Well, James killed Mary, he drove with her corpse to Silent Hill, and if we're to believe the in-water ending, he was planning on driving in the lake with Mary's corpse in the car and killing them both, or killing himself to be with Mary in the afterlife, so to speak. So I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was Masahiro Ito said that Mary's corpse is in the back seat of the car. Let's see. Masahiro Ito, Mary's corpse, Twitter. The Mary's body is on the back seat of James' car, not in the trunk, if I remember correctly. So when you see this gameplay and you can look a little bit into the trunk from this view, you're not seeing it exactly. Like, there's really nothing, as far as I can tell, back there. So that's an interesting detail. And another thing that's kind of weird, and you're going to see it, is this only gives you a small portion of the map, and I don't understand why they did it this way. Because there's just a cutscene where you get the rest of the map later. It's a weird decision. I like the Pete's Bolorama sign up there. The Toluca Lake sign pointing, it looks fantastic. I like that the vehicle that's beside the sign looks almost identical to the PlayStation 2. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like they might have just upscaled the texture from the PlayStation 2. It does look a little jarring. It doesn't look nearly as detailed as everything else, which is why I think it might just be like an upscaled version of the PS2 texture. Maybe I'd have to go and look at it, you know, one-to-one, but that texture looks a little odd. It looks way too flat, but I do like that it's very faithful. I don't know why. It's just stuff like that is really interesting to me, but I love the way this looks. I do think you lose some of that suspense with the over-the-shoulder camera, though. So your vision isn't nearly as obscured as it was in the original. And this gameplay, from what I know, doesn't show the entire walk down the path. It kind of skips forward a little bit. But yeah, so far, like, environmentally, this game looks really impressive. I do think the characters still looks like they're not really interacting with the environment properly. I don't know how to describe that look, but it doesn't look like James is attached to the ground. But I think that's more due to the fact that not only can you not see his feet, it's just that the animations on this game look a little weird, a little off-kilter. But like this is beautiful. I love this so much. I'm gonna enjoy this just walking around the streets and taking in the visuals. Now, I did want to point out a few of the stuff at the beginning. I'm not going to watch through this entire gameplay thing because it's way too long. Again, I'm coming up on 30 minutes for this video. I don't want it to go over like 40 minutes or so. But I am so confused as to why they only gave you a small piece of the map and then you just grab the rest of the map. It seems so unnecessary and random. Like, why did that exist? I don't know. Strange. Very strange. Okay, now here's something that I criticized online in the last trailer that they showed off, was the reveal of the lying figure enemy when he has to crawl under a door to get into a building and then you find it, or it finds you that way, or, you know, you run into it that way. Sorry, I can't think of proper wording right now, but the thing that I didn't like about that change was it didn't really make sense for James to see a trail of blood or whatever leading under a doorway and then for him just to crawl through it, like logically, when you're thinking about it. In the original, he sees a figure walking off in the distance, thinks it's a person, follows, and then you get the enemy encounter. But in the trailer that they showed before, it didn't show that he saw this thing walking in the distance. You didn't see the lying figure walking in the distance. I do think they show it off too much, though. Way too much. Like, it's kind of easy to tell that that's not a normal person. I mean, it was a little easy in the original too, but I think it was a little bit more obscured in the original or further away. But I like that there's at least that context, because then he could be following it, thinking it's a person, thinking that they're injured, and then crawls under to see if they're in there. That makes more sense, much more than him just walking along, seeing a trail of blood leading under a doorway, and then crawling under the doorway for apparently no reason. It's more like you would do the opposite if you saw that. So I do like that they kind of added in that context to make it a little less jarring, so to speak, in terms of, I guess, character motivation realism, maybe. It felt too video gamey without the context. Now it seems fine. But yeah, general town exploration looks phenomenal.
What is that?
And while I'm not a big fan of having like corpses around, because in the original there wasn't too many corpses outside of the ones that look like James, and they were very specifically placed along with like notes and stuff. But I do like that you find a matchbook for Bar Neely's instead of going into a random RV for no reason, just because the camera view turned a certain way, so you're like, oh, I gotta go there. You know, logically in game that didn't really make sense, but it made sense from a game perspective in the original, because you saw the camera view clearly telling you to go into the RV. And on this one, finding a matchbook near a dead body, that makes a lot more sense in universe. And here's something that I'm not as big of a fan of, is these notes feel a little try-hardy a little bit. So if you're reading this, leave this place is not what it seems. Sometimes you just have to look behind. And like if this was written in a normal way, but it's clearly written like it's supposed to be spooky, and I just find that a little silly. Now, Silent Hill 2 did have stuff like that in it, but I feel like this is a little on the nose, so to speak. I love that crawling animation. I never particularly found these monsters scary in the slightest, but I love them, and that crawling animation is on point. So let me skip forward a little bit, because I don't have all day, and I know you don't have all day. I want to respect your time and not make this an hour long. Of course I could if I wanted to, but okay, here's Cafe Texan, and this is something that I also really like, is they added so many more interiors you can go into. So you go in here and you find a coin for Neely's bar. And just the fact that you have all these interiors you can walk around in is really cool. Because expanding the world design of Silent Hill is something that I've always been fascinated in. So the fact that you have so much more detail and interiors to explore and look through and pour over all the detail, that's always a plus in my book. So again, environmental design so far from what I've seen is on point. It is fantastic. And let's go ahead and skip forward a little bit, where you go into, I believe, a record store. And they show off a little bit of the gameplay, combat gameplay. Now, one thing I do like about the combat gameplay is you can hear James putting an effort behind his swings with the voice acting. That's really nice, but I will say the animations still look pretty bad. There is no impact behind his swings. It doesn't look like he's putting all of his force into swings for some reason, and they connect like it doesn't even look like they connect. I don't know what it is. Like the original Silent Hill 2, when you swung with the plank, James would kind of like swing back and then recoil from the hit because he hits so hard. And to me, that visual feedback looked a little better than what we're getting here, which is odd because Silent Hill 2 is 13 years old at this point. Not 13, whoa, 23 years old. My God, I feel old as hell. So, yeah, the combat animations are not the best. And I think that's just something I'm going to have to get used to because, I mean, it's a lower budget game. You can kind of tell. Yeah, like I said, the grunts and stuff from when he's exerting himself is amazing. I love that, but I just wish the visual feedback was a little more believable, realistic, or I don't know. It just doesn't look proper to me. It's not terrible, but it's not good either. It's something I'm just going to have to learn to live with. The window busting did not look good, but I mean, that's nitpicking. Now, one thing I do notice is a little bit of blood on his face. I don't know if that's from the combat or the fact that he's damaged, and you can tell that he's damaged because of the red glow around the screen. And the way he's, like, walking and... The record glue, and there's a record vinyl. And now here's something that I like is they did include the original messaging on the wall and the same font almost, so that looks fantastic. And here is Bar Neely's. So this environment has gotten, of course, a lot more detail. It looks like a proper bar now. And when he turns around, you see the iconic message on the wall saying there was a hole here. It's gone now. So that's really cool. I'm ready to see how the message looks when you go through the dark Silent Hill, you know, in the later portion. But here's a puzzle where you repair the record and put it into the jukebox. That's all nice and good. Let's go ahead and look at a little bit of the what is it? Woodside Apartments. Now, one thing I want to look at, because I like the way they handled it in the original, is you could always see the mannequin in the background during the scene. I feel like this might be a little bit hard to see. I would have to actually play it and look around. But I do think the framing of the original mannequin and the way it stood up is a little bit better than the way they handled it here. And of course, you do stuff like looking through drawers and cabinets for resources and key items. That's to be expected. One final thing, and I'll leave on a kind of sour note, but it's something that I find annoying in game design, and I'm kind of sad to see it here. So there's an open window, and there is a garbage bin, and you push it 2 feet away to climb up and climb into a window. And I don't know why modern games, or games ever since like 2010, feel the need to do this, where you need to like push a block over to climb through a window. But it's not even like it's a challenge or you have to look for it. It's literally like right there. And the thing is, the window that he climbs through is like short enough for him to just climb through. Like, why do you need interaction where you push a garbage bin over there to climb through the window? I don't know. That's just annoying. And I feel like like if it's really done well, then it's good. Like where you have to look around the environment, find something to use to climb up to a thing for like a hidden object or, you know, a special item or something. But I feel like way too many games have that just over and over and over and over in the exploration design, where it's not even like it's a challenge to find where to go. It's just going through the motions essentially over and over again. So I don't know. I know that's very little. That's minor. But I did see that and I was just like, why? Kind of. But yeah, that's about it for Silent Hill 2 Remake. Of course, there's a little bit more to go through. Him finding the handgun, the shopping cart, clock puzzle, him fighting more monsters. I believe they show the coin puzzle. Him looking through the toilet for the wallet, I believe. Oh, the minute hand. Okay, so I actually didn't get to watch this entire video before I started this. So yeah, that's different, and I like that that's different. But yeah, that's a little. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, finally we end with some Pyramid Head. So let's back it up a little bit and see what it shows beforehand. So this is very clearly the first encounter with Pyramid Head, which is kind of weird. The environment that it's in, I'm a little caught off guard because you didn't really see the more dilapidated environments until the hospital. So that's kind of odd, kind of cool. Different take on the butterfly room with the hole in the wall, I believe. Oh yeah, it looks like the other world is going to be in different locations this time. That is interesting. Oh wow. Okay, like this is a live reaction. I have not seen this, so this is genuinely like, what the hell, man? This is cool. Let's see if there's an end to the Pyramid Head scene. The animation blending form there was not the best. The way he just kind of snaps like that. Yeah, that didn't look too good. Okay, so I'm not as big of a fan of the way they ended that segment. So, with him just opening the door and walking out. I liked it better when he walked down the staircase and it let the water out and then you could go down and exit. But it's a different, just the fact that there's otherworld segments in the apartments is strange. It's a little weird. It's weird in a good way, but yeah, I'm coming off of this a lot more positive than I was beforehand. And I think that this is a much better showing of the game than the previous few times that they've shown it off. Of course, I still have my gripes about the Maria thing, but outside of that, I think it looks decent. I'm still on the fence of whether it's actually going to be good or not, but this gives me a little bit more hope that it will be. And as someone who's not the biggest, like, Silent Hill 2 fan ever, I like the series a lot. I mean, I love the series. I'm more of a Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 3, and Silent Hill 4 kind of guy. Silent Hill 2, it has a special place in my heart. I do love it a lot, but for me, the way I look at the remake is if it's bad, then I want it to be a kind of bad where it's still enjoyable. And I know a lot of people will probably get upset when I say this, but Silent Hill Short Message was god-awful. It was so bad. But it was so bad in a way that it was enjoyable. It was like Tommy Wiseau, The Room, you know, playing through Silent Hill: The Short Message. And even though, yeah, it was cringe and it was kind of bad, it was at least entertaining. And that's the most that I can hope for from the Silent Hill 2 remake. If it's, you know, if it's anything, I'm really hoping it's fantastic. And from what I've seen, it looks good for the gameplay, exploration-wise. A little iffy on the combat. Some of the story changes look a little weird, but I think it's something I'll get used to. It's mainly just like Maria, the combat, and I feel like it's a little too Hollywood in the acting to portray the story that Silent Hill 2 portrayed. It's definitely a different take on it, so that's going to be something to get used to. But it's just, I hope if it's bad, it's a kind of bad that I can still enjoy because it's so bad it's endearing, like to me the Short Message was. But I'm not really hoping for that in the way that I want it to fail. No, I want it to be great, and I'm really hoping it's great. But this definitely gives me more to be hopeful for. And if anything, I'm getting more Akira Yamaoka soundtrack, so that's a plus all the way around. So yeah, that's the new Silent Hill stuff. It's pretty impressive how much they managed to turn my opinion around in the span of 2 videos. Now it was a lot more gameplay, so I did get to see more of the game, but where I was the last time they showed it off versus this time is a whole different ballpark. Like, man, they really turned it around on me. So that about does it for this video. I'm sorry I was away for so long. I kind of haven't been feeling like making videos after I've been playing so many online games with other people. I had to sit there and reset my entire computer to clear off hard drive space, and I'm still learning editing software, so yeah, it is what it is. I'm not making any excuses. I will be making more videos in the future, hopefully a lot more frequently, getting back into Mario Builder 64 and stuff. But when I saw this was out, I couldn't help but make a video about it and say what I thought, because it's Silent Hill 2. I love Silent Hill, and yeah, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and tell me what you thought of all of it down below. I'm sorry I made this video so long. I wanted to make it easy to digest, but when I got to the gameplay portion, there's so much that I hadn't seen, and I just had to watch it and take it in, because it's so different, and in a way it's kind of cool. So yeah, tell me what you thought down below. Definitely, I would love to hear all of your thoughts, good or bad. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video. If you do dislike the video, tell me why you disliked the video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos, hopefully soon. And I will see you guys in the next video.